You are worse.
Good morning. We are going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a prayer. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
Amen.
And we have minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 21st meeting.
Second the motion.
Whoa,
Motion,
my glass
second.
just fell.
Any additions, corrections? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Next, we have public comment regarding pending resolutions. Is anyone here to comment on a pending resolution? Seeing none, we will move on to resolutions. Jeremy Cinco, sanitary engineer.
Not used to leading off.
I know. It's an important spot.
Two resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing a cooperative agreement between the County of Medina and the Ohio Water Development Authority for the Hinckley Wastewater Treatment Plant Electrical Upgrade Project. And the second is authorizing the sanitary engineer to obtain easements along South Court Street.
I'll make a motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Denise Testa, Planning and Planning Services Director.
That's what I am today.
Yes.
Accepting, awarding, I have one resolution for your consideration of accepting and awarding a proposal for consulting services to review and update the Medina County subdivision regulations and, if applicable, a proposed development agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Next up is Stephen Sikora from the Job and Family Services Business Administration.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Stephen.
Two for JFS this morning. The first is a resolution authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from the JFS Children's Services Fund to the JFS Public Assistance Funds for PCSA administration expenditures. Second is the resolution authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from the Child Support Administration and RMS expenditures back to the Public Assistance Fund.
I'll make a motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next up is Holly Murin from HR. Morning, Holly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On our personnel changes resolution today, we have 3 new hires, 2 at County Home, 1 at Job and Family Services, 1 appointment correction at Job and Family Services, 2 promotions, 1 at Job and Family Services and 1 in Transit, 6 rate increases, 1 in Sanitary, 1 at Job and Family Services, 1 in Transit, 1 in Building, 1 in Senior and Adult Services, and 1 in Commissioners, 2 return from leaves at Job and Family Services, and 1 resignation at Job and Family Services.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
And next we have Brett Thomas, our Finance Director.
But he's not listed.
He's listed on mine.
Oh.
He wasn't supposed to be here.
Oh.
Poof. And then
It wasn't scheduled to be here.
I have 6 resolutions for you guys this morning. Our first one is revenue adjustments for the sale of our surplus county property. Every quarter, we eventually dump that back into our revenue funds. Our second resolution is cash transfers for various funds. One of these is a correction just for a prior transfer to get it into the correct account. The remainder are actually for moving money over from XAS for their federal grant schedule. Our third resolution is creation of the Adult Probation, Drug and Mental Health Court Specialized Docket Payroll Subsidy Project Fund, try saying that 3 times fast, and authorizing the appropriations. The Medina County Mental Health Board has given the courts $100,000 towards this purpose, so we are allocating that out for courtrooms 3A and 3B for drug and mental health specialty dockets. Our fourth resolution is approval of an agreement for a service coordinator between the Family First Council and the Board of Developmental Disabilities. That is in an agreement not to exceed $87,511. And our fifth resolution is expenses for county officials. We have nothing that's going out of state this time. And our sixth and final resolution is our weekly bills in the amount of $919,896.66.
I'll make a motion to approve the 6 resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion and second. I had a question. The drug court funds, that actually goes through adult probation, or does that go through the actual court funds?
That is through the court's funds.
Okay.
That is specialized for their docket
So
processes.
do we have I should probably know this, do we have a joint fund for that since it's covering both courtrooms, or does that just go through the 3A budget?
It goes through, it's actually its own fund.
Okay.
That is separated out for, it's actually 3 different sub-funds that sit underneath that for the purposes of drug courts for each of the 2 main common police courts, as well as a mental health as a separate.
So it isn't
docket
tied to
set for-
either specific court? It's
No, they are. Each court has a certain amount that is allocated for them for this purpose.
But it's the $100,000 that comes out of that $100,000 that's being created here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Brett. And with the resolutions, we will move to our department updates. Shannon Ryan is leading us off. Who knew that before I said it? So thank you, Shannon.
I don't want to stand up too quick.
No.
Good morning, how are you? Just updating you on September. Positive months when it comes to ridership over last year and up from the 2024 averages. So ridership seems to be ticking up. I reported to Wadsworth yesterday. They had a 5% increase from the previous year. So we're seeing those things just kind of fluctuating but ticking up, where I'm happy about that. Continue to be efficient. Miles are down. Costs are down. Some things that are really important for that we track, and I've mentioned these KPIs before, our cost per mile continues to go up, $5.94 over the averages of $5.47 in 2024. But what we see is a cost per passenger, which is really a credit to the team, because what that does is, if you look, our cost per passenger for this September 25 was $34.35. And 24, the average was $34.58. So even that cost per mile goes up, our cost per passenger is going down. So we're getting even more efficient, and I think that's just, and it continue that one trip denial that we continue to do, trying to get that to 0 but 1. Those numbers right there are very important when it comes to transit, about our ability to provide a shared ride service the most efficient we can be. So I'm really happy about those numbers. Looking at the monthly contract summary, these are the numbers that are gone down a little bit for senior adult services. It has impacted our funding flow a little bit, but we're making some adjustments to that. And as I said, trying to be more efficient. It does show that we have less ridership for the monthly contracts, just because of the nuances of transit, I'll call it. Just other things to report, we did order our buses. They're on the way on a 6-month schedule. We're working on a radio contract in partnership with the Sheriff Department to go to the 6, or I think it's 7 county towers, which is, it's just a real important thing to our team. So we're trying to work with the state yesterday about some funding. We have to pass through a few gates. It's competitive, but hopefully we can get that done really soon. And the last thing I'll mention is on November 15th, we have this will be our 5th annual Safety and Training Day with our employees. It's an opportunity for HR to come in and speak to them about the things that are going on as far as payroll and accessing things, and being just a friend. We have some new employees that like to see that, so it'll help them. We have just safety training in the garage when it comes to wheelchair securement, driving, all the things that we see the reoccurring. So Dawn's Fry's there to help us with that. And then we bring them into the office as well to talk to them about the scheduling aspects and show them what they're doing and how we're benefiting from their work. So we have a lot of new employees that are excited. They're very energetic about helping the community, so we're picking the right people. And I give our supervisory team, Amy Carpenter, the credit for hiring not just people, but the right people.
Great.
So,
Seen that in
everything's
complaint
going well.
numbers too, which always, it would seem to be trending down too, so that's.
What's that? I'm sorry?
Your complaint numbers seem to be trending down, so that's,
Yeah, the complaints are, many of, we get, in fact, I just got a voicemail a minute ago asking, how does this work? That's a lot of the things that we're getting right now. How
Yeah.
does this work? So as we go to the senior center, Suprema Center, as I did earlier, and going to speak to different groups, Cloverleaf High School, I went and spoke with a group of kids in a classroom and talked to them, and went back and told their parents, so they're calling us, their future riders, right? Those with, certain disabilities, cognitive and physical. So just getting a lot of questions about how does this work? So that's exciting, but also we have to make sure we can manage that,
Sure.
right? And capacity stays up.
Yeah.
So, but yes.
Just as I understand it, the reduction in numbers from the senior adult services, in part, it has to do with policy changes as to what rides are subsidized and which ones aren't.
That's the feedback that I'm hearing, Commissioner, yes.
They've actually reduced what they'll cover, and then any additional rides would then be at the expense of the individual.
Yeah, and they're choosing to kind of consolidate and go on that one trip that's funded. But yeah, it has impacted that. I think that, I thought it was a month to month, but it seems like it's a trend of what you said exactly. So
it's a
we'll manage that the
policy
best.
change, at the senior adult services.
Yeah,
as
we're
to what
here
they'll
for
cover.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Thank you for that. But
sure.
Other than that, things are going pretty well.
Okay.
thank you, thanks for the
Thank you.
updates.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the good work. Next up, we have Stacy Malakar from the DD Board.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
Stacy.
morning.
As always, I've got stuff for you. Got packets here. I got some packets to hand out, some information. I'll take one packet and pass along. And then I have one of these. The first thing I want to do is, we had a board meeting last night, and the board approved a statement regarding the homestead exemption doubling. So I'll just read it through for you, but you have it. We are in support of doubling the homestead exemption. The Medina County Board of Developmental Disability supports the Medina County Commissioner's proposal to double the homestead exemption as a one-time measure to provide tax relief for Medina County residents. It provides immediate relief to homeowners, especially seniors and individuals on fixed incomes, and represents a collaborative initiative across all county entities that receive property tax revenue without a rollback of any existing levies. We recognize that many in our community are struggling with rising costs, and this proposal offers targeted assistance without jeopardizing the essential services on which our residents depend. By supporting this one-time exemption increase, we are showing our taxpayers that we hear them and that we are and want to be part of the solution. Therefore, the Medina County Board of Developmental Disabilities supports doubling the homestead exemption as a responsible, compassionate, and collaborative response to our community needs. So we wanted to,
appreciate
we wanted to
appreciate that
share
very
that with
much.
you.
Thank you.
And, we all realize it's, tough decision and, yeah. So, I handed out some stuff, I'm not gonna go through it, but you've got, some of our, releases, the leadership graduates, they were here at one of your meetings, but they have graduated, really great group of, 4 young people there. We've got the technology, we had the, tech, expo, and the second year, we've done this with, Summit County Board of DD, and it's just great. We've got quite a few vendors, quite a few people coming out, looking at it, and really it's just an opportunity for people to learn about technology that can help them be more independent while decreasing their need for a support staff. So it's great show of people, and we're going to continue to do that. And then, of course, I've talked with you before, but we had our addressing emergencies. We have those blue envelopes for people that can record information and keep that with them. They have some interaction with safety forces, and there's also I've talked about this before, the Roth ID tag that you can register, little QR code. If you have a small child or something in your vehicle, you can put that directly on their car seat and that, so if something happens, God forbid, there's information there that safety forces can access immediately. So we can continue to distribute that to people that are interested. We think that's important. Just some stuff about our budget stuff. Just want to make note that for the third quarter, $4.2 million was our Medicaid match, which is about a 38% increase from the second quarter. So again, I've talked about this before, we just see the trend of our Medicaid match increasing. All for good things, providing services. We know that increased the DSP rates of pay, so, but it is increasing. Year to date, we have spent a little over $2 million on just local funding. So those are folks that do not use a waiver, but we still provide funding for their services. The other thing I want to share with you is that October is the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and it's really an opportunity to recognize the contribution that people with disabilities provide to our workforce, our community. It gives them an opportunity to earn a living, the pride in that, and also become more independent. This year we had a little recognition. We have the Medina County Employment Collaboration, which is made up of our agency that works with people finding jobs in the community, local businesses, as well as the providers that support people. So this year we wanted to recognize 5 businesses that have really been supportive and really worked collaboratively to ensure that people are successful in their jobs. We recognize Giant Eagle, Drug Mart, Westfield, Fire Decks, and Bunker Hill. They've all been just great partners, and we can't say enough about that partnership in providing people with employment. The other thing I'd like to share with you is Medina County Recreation Center just finished installing a universal changing table. This came about this summer. We assisted the Medina Recreation Center with a camp for people with disabilities. We kind of helped them start that off. And actually from a parent had said something about, hey, we would really like to see that here. It would be useful for my son and our family. And so they responded and they installed one, and just another opportunity to just open doors for people.
Great.
So yeah, any questions I can answer for you?
No.
I appreciate your proactiveness on the position statement for that.
Yeah.
I think it is, and we've had conversations obviously
Yeah.
together about this, and it's never far from anybody's mind. But to take the lead on offering support for it when you don't have inside millage to make up for it,
Correct,
I think it's. You didn't mention that. I wanted to make sure I
Thank
mentioned
you.
that on
Yeah.
your behalf, because for you and others like the Parks District and the Career Center and some of the other ones we've talked about in these meetings, it's a real having that commitment is important. So
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
And we have Nicole Mickley here from the Board of Elections. Always a pleasure to get her the week before the election. We, like to have you when you're as busy as you get. So,
Thank you. Just talking about community involvement and partnering together. We use the Achievement Center as one of our polling locations. They kind of opened their doors to us in a pinch, and it's turned out to be a really great location. And also, one of our employees uses transit for early voting, one of our early voting employees, so it's kind of neat to connect all those dots this morning. But yes, we are 7 days out from Election Day, so it is getting busy over there. And though our numbers of votes cast will not be anywhere near where we were last November, 2025 is by no means an off-year election. In fact, if you want to see an election official, lose their mind, call it an off-year election. In fact, odd-year elections, which is what we prefer to call them, are actually busier in terms of number of candidates, petitions, ballot styles, offices sought, and campaign finance reports being filed. So currently in Medina County, we have 131,265 registered voters, so down a little bit from the presidential, but that's to be expected with cleanup of voter rolls and things like that. Several candidates on the ballot throughout the county. There's mayoral races in the cities of Brunswick, Medina, and Rittman. Council members for the cities of Brunswick, Medina, Rittman, and Wadsworth. Medina City Director of Finance, Wadsworth City Treasurer, township trustees in all of the townships, as well as unexpired terms for fiscal officers and township trustees in several townships as well. Village mayors, council and public affairs board members, as well as school board members and Medina County Educational Service Center. We have 30 questions and issues throughout the county. There are no statewide issues this time, but we do have MCDAC renewal for the whole county and the Medina County Parks District, which most voters in the county will see, with the exception of Hinckley Township, who's part of the Cleveland Metro Parks. York Township also has a Parks and Rec Parks and Rec renewal. The City of Brunswick has 11 charter amendments on their ballot. In terms of school levies, only Rittman exempted village school district has a renewal this time. Police, fire, and emergency services take up a bulk of the levies this time. Village of Lodi, Granger Township, Guilford, Harrison Township, Liverpool, Montville, Sharon Township, Wadsworth Township, and Westfield Fire and Rescue District will all have levies on their ballots. Harrisville Township has roads and bridges, and then there are 3 local liquor options in the precincts of Brunswick Hills, Harrisville, and Hinckley. One of the biggest things I want to point out this time is we have some precinct and polling location changes that we made this summer. We increased the number of precincts we have. Ohio Revised Code says that we can only have precincts in the size of 14,000 registered voters. So we had to take a look at that this summer in between elections and make some changes. So we added 3 new precincts. Precinct 122, which is Brunswick City 2F, Precinct 123, Brunswick Hills Township G, and Precinct 124, Hinckley Township F. All of the voters in those precincts, those new precincts, were sent postcards by mail and notified of their changes. So voters were taken from several other precincts surrounding those and created the new precincts to distribute the numbers more evenly. We also closed the following polling locations, Brunswick Hills Fire Station, and those voters will now go to St. Ambrose. Gloria Glens Park Village Community Building has been closed, and those voters will now vote at the Chippewa Lake Town Hall. Human Services Building we closed, and those voters will now go to Medina Fire Station 1. And Grace Baptist Church was closed, and those voters will now go to Applewood School. And those voters all received postcards as well to notify them. But if voters have questions about where they should vote or what precinct they're in, they can always call the Board of Elections, and we'll be happy to tell them, or they can go to our website and look up their information, and it'll tell them as well. And then just a few important reminders about deadlines. Today at 8:30 p.m. is the deadline to submit absentee requests to receive your ballot by mail. Including today, we have 6 more days of early voting at the Board of Elections office located at 3800 Stonegate Drive. We're there today until 8:30. Wednesday through Friday, voting hours are 7:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. Saturday, we're open 8 to 4, and Sunday, 1 to 5. And don't forget the time change on Sunday.
That's right.
After Sunday the 2nd, you must vote at your assigned polling location on Election Day. There is no Monday voting. Ballots can be returned in person, by mail, or in the drop box, and at our location on 3800 Stonegate Drive. If you are mailing back your absentee ballot, it must be postmarked no later than Monday, November 3rd. But if you're returning it in person, it must be in the drop box or in our office no later than 7:30 p.m. on election night. And of course, remember that Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th, and the polls will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Last year, there were some issues with the Postal Service that I think we were on the front edge of identifying some of them. Have you had any of those challenges this year? Or?
A few. We have one day that ballots seem to be stuck. We've gotten a few voters that have notified us. October 14th seems to be the day. So it was after the Columbus Day holiday. Seems that some voters have contacted us and said that was the day. We've noted in our system that we mailed their ballot out and they hadn't received it yet. So if voters have requested a ballot and haven't received it yet, they should notify us today so that we can reissue them one.
Great.
Okay.
Any other hiccups to speak of?
No.
Good. Good to hear.
good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
updating
much.
all
Thank
the
you.
work that you do.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a commissioner's resolution, and this is the resolution we've been speaking about related to adopting the local option homestead exemption pursuant to House Bill 96, granting additional property tax relief to eligible homeowners within Medina County.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. I assume there'll be some discussion. Do you have, would you like to add anything? Either of
Yeah,
you?
I just, thanks for the opportunity. Obviously, as it had been discussed, this is a difficult decision. As in any significance, you're going to have different opinions, especially when it comes to money. And the impact of state legislation can't be ignored. So what's going on? This was created not at the request of boards of county commissioners, but literally in the mind of the General Assembly, where we're given this authority to create some temporary ability for tax relief. Likewise, there's other bills that are pending and going through the process that deals with tax reform that could have significant consequences not only for counties, but also the largest entities that are impacted by property tax, of course, are schools, and would have some. And I know that we've had communication from the schools regarding their concerns, their fears as to what's going to happen in the future, and all of us are monitoring that, and hopefully that those concerns could be mitigated with some reasonable compromise at the state level. But that's not what our job is. Our job is to take a look, and this is there's no doubt we have gone through in this county a historic increase, some would say crazy increase in property tax and valuations, and likely increases next year as a consequence of that. And there are many people in dire need of relief. And I think that's what we've tried to balance it out, and we've identified as best we can with of course, the county auditor as to the pluses and minuses, those that would be impacted by this doubling of the homestead exemption, and those that would benefit also from the inside millage increases because of those increased appraisals, and trying to balance that, and seeing that more entities will actually still have a cash reserve or cash balance in favor, even with this change. There are those, as been pointed out, there are those entities such as the Board of DD that in effect would be a negative and you don't get inside millage. Likewise, McDack, our county home, social services, but they're under our taxing authority. So for us, what we'll be doing is looking at the budget and seeing indeed if this impact is something that impedes their ability, impedes the ability for providing those services. We legitimately can take a look and say, okay, can we help provide the funding next budget to offset those losses, and in which case I think that's reasonable. And I think many of the communities we've heard from, the townships and so forth, that have fire districts that are impacted, they have a positive cash balance as well because of the inside millage. And we've heard, at least from one, that they're concerned with their fire district, but I also noted that just as much as their fire district would be impacted, they actually have a sufficient balance from that inside millage to cover that. So if they have a real concern that it's going to impact their ability for their fire district to meet the needs of the community, next year they have enough cash to be able to balance that out. And so I have to balance that against the need of the residents, the individuals. The 11,000, I guess the estimated 11,820 households that would see a benefit of $1,000 that are most in dire need. They are the poorest, they're the ones that are disabled and seniors, and we have over 400, I know, of disabled veterans households who would receive, I think, $2,000 in a benefit. So this is a time that we can step up and say, yeah, there's pluses and minuses to this, but overwhelmingly, it's the benefit those most in need for this one-time tax relief. And therefore, I'd be in favor of doing this. This is not a gimmick. It's been called on social media as some kind of a gimmick of the commissioners. And believe me, those that are receiving that additional $1,000 or that $2,000 of relief to that, and we're talking about, about 12,000 households. It's not a gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It's a real significant help to those most impacted, would be most impacted by these increases in property taxes. So I know it'd be nice to spread it around. I know we're looking at inside millage, and we know even if we roll back inside millage, it'll be just a nominal amount. But it's one we'll be talking about. But this is the one we can have the largest impact on those low income and senior households, and hence I'm certainly interested in making sure that this gets implemented quickly. And I know the auditor's office is going to be doing mailings to those that are under homestead exemption, that if we pass this, to inform them of the requirements to qualify for the piggyback. So in which case the number might be lower if they're no longer qualified for the piggyback. Then they'll know that ahead of time. But largely, I think the money is there, the balance is there, and I think the benefit is there.
Reappraisal year is a tough year because it's unpredictable expense, and the 12,000 homes that will benefit from this number, it will certainly, help their balance sheet at the end of the year for their expenses. We don't want to see our lower income seniors and disabled veterans have to make choices between how much they're going to eat, which medicines they should take. So it is significant money for the income levels of people that it will directly benefit. So the local entities that feel that it will impact their budget, we can't stress enough that this is just for next year, until we see some of the final decisions that the state decides to make. So I absolutely agree that it's the right decision.
And I'll just say, I agree with what both of you have said so far, specifically that I think we all need to be in a mindset of kind of the new normal in terms of tax revenues. This is a temporary solution that we are presenting, but it is also something that probably resembles what we're going to all have to, the world in which we're all going to be operating in going forward. So in that sense, between these adjustments and then the inside millage adjustments that we're going to take some further action on locally here to follow in a future meeting, I think that gives all of us kind of a good exercise in frugality that's going to become, I think, more of the norm going forward, and I'm certainly supportive of that. The other thing I think I would just say kind of in closing is that the unfortunate part of this is some of those impacts to safety services and schools and some of these other ones. But as we've mentioned before, we had the opportunity to either provide tax relief that's, I think it's $5.5 million is the total number of relief. It's approaching that number at least, or not provide it. And so it wasn't that we could adjust things and say, well, how about 3.5 or how about 4? It was a yes or a no. And so in that kind of equation where we either do it or we don't do it, and the relief is going to the point Steve made, the relief is going to the most financially vulnerable members of our community, I think we have an obligation to do it. So I'm pleased that we are able to offer this solution. I'm also under no illusion that it is permanent or going to resolve everything going forward. But I think it's a first step in the right direction.
I would like to add one more thing that, at budget time this year, we're going to do our best to set an example that as government leaders, we're looking at our own budget to make up some of these costs for next year.
Right. Yep. And I think we all need to be shifting that mindset going forward. Anything else?
No.
If nothing, then I'll call the roll, please, Rhonda.
I think we have, this was the vote. I
Yeah.
thought you were ending the meeting. Yes.
Hambley?
Wishful
Yes.
thinking.
Harrison?
Yes. Thank you. And with that, we have public comment. Is anyone here for public comment? Okay, Jeremy, go ahead.
Good morning,
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
Good morning.
Jeremy Cray, 387 Medina Road, Medina. And I probably should have jumped up for the part for the resolution, but more of a comment or a question. So in reviewing the proposals or RFQs, when I reported back to the HBA, one of the questions is, and this is probably private sector versus public sector, one of the conversation points was, well, what is it going to cost? And this was new to me, but the RFQ, I would describe it as if I was going shopping for a car and you gave me specs on a Chevy, on a Lexus, and a Porsche, just the specs, I'm going to select the Porsche every time, right? So it was new to me that in reviewing the RFQs, I kept flipping the pages to see where's the proposal, where's the price, where's the cost. So, 2 weeks ago, heard the conversation about the homestead tax. Then I was at Montville Township that night, heard about them and trying to make cuts and sacrifices to make those things work. And as we talk about kind of fiscal responsibility, when talking to the board, the question was, so how much is this going to cost? I said, I don't know. And the county doesn't know. So I guess my question in this is the resolution that was passed says it authorizes getting the proposal and actually entering into the agreement. My request is that the commissioners are active in the process of actually reviewing the cost prior to that being executed. Because I think it's important to understand how much this is going to cost, right?
And you want to say which RFQ you're talking about so
So
the public understands?
American Structure Point, RFQ is for a review and analysis of existing subdivision regulations and the future potential development agreement. So it's just, again, in the world, the private side world, you're looking at not only the specs, but also the cost, and it just seems...
Okay, so the RFQ world during historical times for Ohio is relatively new. You used to just go out for quotes. So this is a tool now where instead of always going for lowest bid,
Sure.
this is a tool that we have in Ohio, the RFQ process, to actually look at qualifications, and so you're not always tied to absolutely going for lowest bid, because sometimes there's been situations during the history of, government where lowest bid isn't always the best choice. So this is a process that allows us to look at qualifications where many times when they submit their proposals, they will give a dollar amount. Sometimes they'll just give their qualifications, but many times they will give their dollar amount. We recently did this year for the proposals for a company to evaluate our fairgrounds. So again, we got like 8 proposals. About half of them put a dollar amount and half of them just put their qualifications. So it is a good process where you can focus more on content and qualities versus price. So we won't really know until we go through the process.
At this point, you're negotiating. You'll be negotiating a contract. And the
Yes.
contract will have to be approved.
Yes,
So right
and I
now,
would-
you've decided, since it is a professional service,
Yes.
and basically you're negotiating a professional service, you've identified who you want to negotiate with, and that's exactly what will be done.
Yeah, and I agree with American Structure Point. I think they
Yeah,
had the
good.
best proposal.
Yeah.
My request is just making sure that it's
Yeah.
very transparent in terms of when the proposal comes in and making sure that it actually gets reviewed at this level.
There'll be a subsequent authorization for that, so that would happen at that point in time.
And like I said, we do have a budgeted amount right now that we had set aside originally was for cost of services. That was not completed, but the idea is to utilize that already budgeted money to help pay for this.
Perfect. Yeah,
But my point was that
Sure.
as far as
Yeah.
an actual final cost, yet to be determined.
And approved.
And approved.
And approved.
Yeah, that's the important step.
That was what I was
It's being
requesting.
negotiated.
Yep.
at this
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for raising the issue. Other public comment, Mr. Chambers? Oh, Mr. Chambers, do you have anything? I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Sorry, Colin.
No, you're good.
Just your name and information, and then
Yes,
most of us know.
my name's David Chambers. I'm the treasurer of Medina City School District. Live in Medina County at 6416 Silverstone Lane. We are in agreement that we need some help tax-wise for our most needy citizens. We are very grateful to our citizens because Medina City School District relies on our citizens for our taxes. Unlike other entities, school districts have two main sources of funds. That's our tax monies and our monies from the state. The monies from the state are very little for Medina City Schools, just like Wadsworth City Schools, and all the commissioners know this. Medina City Schools relies heavily on their taxpayers. I'm not questioning the piggyback itself. I'm questioning the thought that it's a one-year piggyback. And the only reason I'm questioning that is if you're helping our least able to fund for this year, what happens next year when their tax bills all of a sudden raised by $2,000 more, or not next year, but the following year, raised by $2,000 more or $1,000 more? Are you going to say that's fine? You know, that they deserve, well, they are just beneficiaries of a one-year reduction? Because if you're saying that, no, they should still get that reduction, that means that you're coming back at the taxing entities again next year. So I just wanted to point that out. It's as I say, wholeheartedly agree that something is needed. As Commissioner Hanley said, that we are reliant on the state, on what those legislators are going to do, and not do for school districts and other taxing entities, but it's just a question I have of, okay, not next year, what happens the following year?
So, and I think that, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit in these discussions we've had so far. One scenario is the state provides more lasting reform solutions over the course of the next year. That's one possibility. Another possibility, I'm addressing purely, I guess, possibilities or scenarios that don't involve us taking action. Another scenario is the taxing authorities themselves take some initiative to do those things. And honestly, that's what I would love to see is a little bit broader menu of options presented by the state, that each taxing authority could decide what's right and appropriate for them. But the kind of the premise when we started this discussion 5 or 6 weeks ago was if we could, you know, our options of doing something or doing nothing, and something could have been something other than the homestead exemption as well, as I think has been discussed prior. But in the argument for doing nothing, I think it would have had a lot more weight if we had believed there was the opportunity and the appetite from other taxing authorities to do something. And both the timing and the breadth of options that were available to them, I don't think lend itself to that happening.
Very limited.
So I'm not necessarily faulting school boards for not doing that, but I would hope that maybe in another calendar year's time, everybody could take a deep breath and a broader look at the situation and find, and our friends in Columbus could maybe provide us with some better options too, that we could all consider in a thoughtful way where it isn't just one group kind of imposing on others, which is essentially what this is. And I think I share your concerns about that. But I do think we all have a responsibility, and part of that responsibility would be when we have those options that we make use of them.
I'm afraid not. I'll just say genuinely, I think this time next year, we're going to be talking about more significant things
Yeah.
than this one-time tax credit. my prediction of that constitutional amendment will be on the ballot. And if that passes, then you are talking more of an Armageddon than you are talking about whether we have this one-time tax benefit. It's going to get tied up in the courts, and frankly, that's my biggest fear, is that we're going to be in the midst of even a worse mess. So frankly, if that's the worst thing for us to consider a year from now, I'll actually be thanking God that actually calmer heads have prevailed.
And to Steve's,
But I don't anticipate, right now, it just seems overwhelming force of, I mean, we've got public officials out there circulating this petition in this county to eliminate property tax entirely. And that is just, that's almost unimaginable how the state's going to handle that. And in which case, we're going to be much more focused on just trying to maintain. And so this would be a minor issue.
And to Steve's point, doing something that we legally are allowed to do this year, it's almost responsible to only do it for you this year until we see what happens at the state level. You know what I mean? We have no idea what's coming.
I know that the CCO is part of our conference in December. A good portion of it's going to be devoted to just how panel sessions and so forth discussing this very issue, that what will happen to county government if property taxes are eliminated. And I can't imagine the school boards not trying to figure out what the heck, how would you manage this kind of significant change in taxation.
Right.
So it's, yeah.
But I also think if that's the threat, the opportunity that presents is for all of us to be more proactive. And actually, this is a point that Stacy made as well. Proactive both in educating the public about this legislative initiative that could be threatening all of us in ways that we can't even imagine, in addition to working together to identify our own solutions, because we're big. I know all of us are big advocates. I know school board members, I know our DD board members are all big advocates of the things Medina County can do and the problems we can solve when we collaborate. It's an opportunity for collaboration, both to explain and educate our citizenry about the threat that this poses, and also perhaps come up with our own solution that we can say, this works better than anything we've seen so far. And I don't think any of us have a shortage of ideas that we think would work better than what's been proposed so far. But it's an opportunity for us to work together and do that in a time frame that, while still short, is certainly longer than we've had in roughly 6 weeks of discussions since we've had some working numbers to work with on the new appraisals. So,
Okay.
thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
I know we have Colin. Is anybody else here for public comment? Because I want to make sure he goes. No, it's no offense, Colin. Come on up. I think you're next up, Colin, from the health department. I think you have some follow up to our discussion last week regarding
septic.
Septic. Yep.
Thank you for having me. My name is Colin Johnson, Deputy Health Commissioner for Medina County Health Department.
Going from taxes to septic tanks.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Boy.
So I just wanted to provide some clarification and some updates basically on the property on Seymour Drive in Granger Township. The first aerial photo you'll see is a picture of a 2007 of that stormwater outlet that was being discussed last week, and you can see, and that is at the time of purchase of the property. The next photo underneath is a 2020 aerial of that same outlet, where it is now a rock line ditch. What we've been working on with the highway engineers to try to find out exactly if there was any kind of permitting for that, and try to actually see if there was any kind of drawings to determine slope on that. I myself was at the property with the sewage supervisor on October 3rd to discuss this, also with Trustee Ginley. So we continue to work to try to help find a solution that's going to benefit possibly not only those two neighbors, but the whole subdivision, because this is a stormwater outlet and it was designed to take stormwater. This property also was referred to the Ohio Department of Health by the property owner on Seymour Drive, and the Ohio Department of Health basically went with our recommendations as well, as this is the only type of system that could go on that property due to poor soils and lack of isolation or sizing. We could not fit a soil absorption system on that. So Unfortunately, the only type of system would be a discharging system. And we followed the Ohio State sewage rules, the Ohio EPA and PDS rules, as well as the trustees and the highway engineer use permit for this property. So we're going to continue to work. I've got some information from the highway engineers regarding possibly the stormwater maintenance fund for that subdivision, but that would only take care of a portion of the ditch, approximately 22 feet from the outlet. And then there will have to be discussions with those involved of like what from that point on to the creek. As you go back, there is no standing water at all. So there is one hiccup, it seems like, from the outlet. So possibly a combination of ideas and funding to help alleviate the standing water.
So you're talking about the possibility of extending the pipe to where the fall is great enough to...
Yeah, or just sloping the ditch. So in conversations, it was mostly by email now that I just got from Dan, who runs their stormwater at the highway engineer, like how much and what that use fund could be used for. So those have just begun. We just received the information. So I just wanted to come and make some clarifications that we were out there. We're looking for a possible solution in
So
funding.
basically, use the ditch maintenance funds from that subdivision.
Yeah, at least for a portion of it, for the first 22 feet from the outlet, and then to see what happens after that.
Okay.
And what other available, assessments for the subdivision, like Aaron and I had talked
But
briefly.
in terms of the water quality of that, it has been tested?
Yeah, that's a brand new system. It's
Okay.
permitted under NPDS permit.
Got it.
There's a service contract, an annual service contract that's required that determines, based on the type of system, what maintenance is required. Typically, it's 2 times a year plus annual sampling for that.
Got it. Okay, all right.
And that's in our program.
Okay,
So, yeah, and it's brand new system.
okay.
So unfortunately, this subdivision, most of these houses were built at the same time with same type of system. This will not be the last time that we have to do this, unfortunately, since there's no sewer in that area. So unfortunately, there will be, unless there's new technology, state sewage rules were due for review in 5 years ago. So we're 10 years since the sewage rules in 2015 came into effect. So the state health department has committed to reviewing those. So sometime next year, hopefully, or there'll be some, and it may be some new technology that we can put different types of systems in poor soils.
Got it.
So I just wanted to, any questions?
Appreciate you
Sure.
continuing to look
Oh.
on it and try to identify some solutions and giving us the update. So
Sure.
thank you.
I have one more second?
Sure.
Krista
Absolutely.
wanted me also, as you talked about some of the most vulnerable, with some of the federal funding being cut and the shutdown, regarding our WIC operations, Ohio Department of Health has secured some additional funding. So the WIC operations at the Medina County Health Department, determining eligibility, obtaining those measurements, body measurements, as well as referrals, completing paperwork, and providing nutrition and breastfeeding education are continuing as normal as we speak.
Great.
Very good. Thanks for
Good
having me.
updates,
Very
and
good.
hopefully
Thank
there's
you.
more lasting plans
Yes.
for that coming in the
Agree.
future.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Colin. And I just kind of lost track on combined public comment and discussion session. So we are in discussion session. So Denise, do you have anything else for discussion? John, anything? Matt? Colleen, anything for discussion? Steve, I know you have a couple things.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, I had met, was invited to attend the governance committee meeting up in Nowaka last Friday, and along with Hunter Morrison, former president and board member and so forth, Nowaka, regarding issues regarding the code of regulations and representation. And I just wanted to bring to your attention, based upon the actions and motions that were made by the members, my concerns with changing the code of regulations. There's a requirement that if there is any change in the composition of the board, and that has to do with the one article, My reason for being there was kind of historical context. I had been chairman of the Code of Regulations Review over the years when I was at NOACA. I was president 3 times and involved in that, and consistently the questions of representation and who sits on the board, I'll just say, on about every census, about every 10 years, is big arguments as to who the people are, who gets to sit, and who gets to vote. And there's always that. But the one thing that was retained is that in order to change that composition requires the approval of all 5 counties. There seems to be this a belief that they can change that, our Code of Regulations, without all 5 counties agreeing to change the description of the composition. And I guess Jeff Brandon is the chairman of the committee, and it's as they have an additional meeting, they're going to bring it to the board. I just want to just say that I think that we ought to be working with our county prosecutor and reminding the board that our Code of Regulations is very firm, that this idea of ratification of all 5 counties is important to a minority county such as ours. That Cuyahoga County, if all you need is a majority to change that composition, it's going to be largely Cuyahoga County that makes that determination as to who sits there. And that's a bad precedent for that board. So I think we need to make sure that legally that they understand our position, and that we legally enforce that requirement that all 5 counties have to agree if you're going to change either the number of board members as well as who those board members are. And I think we ought to safeguard that as much as possible, and remind them that we actually have a legal right to object and require that full ratification before they alter that.
I'm in complete agreement on that.
Okay.
Did you have anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. And then I received, and this is, I think, indirectly related to NOACA, but I received a letter asking for a letter of support for some ongoing redevelopment in Lorain County. I'm going to gather some more information and come back to you guys with information about exactly what they're trying to do, but it is some
This is the one in Russia Township, correct?
No,
Or no?
it's not. This one mentioned the lakefront in Lorain County.
Oh, okay, they're talking about over by that Vermilion.
Yeah,
and
and
that plant.
And I don't have a whole lot of
Oh,
details,
okay.
but what they're talking about sounds like the types of things that some of the discussions have been happening in Cleveland, and in general, it's something I think we'd be supportive of. It would be beneficial
I
to the
think we
region,
need,
but-
talk to Jeremy, because it has implications
Okay.
for the expansion of the water system, the transmission lines that have come into Medina County.
Gotcha.
There had been some discussions, I'm not sure we talked about it here, but we've had with City of Medina regarding our continuing contract for water, that they were looking to create an expansion to service that area, which is essentially asking for Medina and Medina County to subsidize.
I see.
So
Okay.
I think we
Well,
need to have those discussions.
And that was my
Okay.
thought, was just to get a little bit more information, because this kind of spells out a concept, which sounds great, but we
Well,
want to make sure that.
it sounds great in concept to
Yes, the
support economic
implications-
development, but if it's at our expense of Medina County water users, I'm hesitant to
So
support.
I will gather more information, particularly as it pertains to our
Okay.
water supply, because, we don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
And that was all that I had, so I think we will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn into executive session to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee.
Second the motion.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. And we will
Very good.
adjourn from
Thank you.
there. Thank you, everybody, for joining today.